So the guidelines are going to be on screen right now for whatever this. I think I'm calling it. Yeah, I'm going to call it the ShiokaWaifu Wars, and we'll head back to it. So, Jordan, what would I like to explain to myself and the audience who is watching right now why this recording might sound a bit weird? It's because I've already recorded it, but I wasn't recording. I forgot to hit record, and yeah, I recorded nothing. So here I am playing again, and I can't even. I mean, there's no point saying what I just played, so I won't talk about it as much. But I will still address what a question I got from someone that I guess I can just start the video off with now that we've fixed ourselves. Oh, we got painting. Botanist Festival, mermaids, scissors, and scissors. Let's do botanist first then and try to go for this thing. Well, that means, yeah, so, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, again, just to say really quickly, why am I saying, again, I haven't said it yet, but the last run I played that I didn't, nice panic and 2 suicidals, by the way. I didn't record is I immediately got katana on the first investigation, and then I proceeded to get the chainsaw, so that was a fun run. I'll talk about what the result is maybe another time. But again, what was more important was addressing the question that I got from someone, where basically not argument, but their opinion or a question, and I don't take this in a bad way. I wasn't insulted or anything by it, so in case that person thought so, no. But basically the question, well, nice 12 roll, by the way. The question was, well, Jordan, aren't you tired of playing World of Horror? Because there's only so many ways to play it. I guess I'll paraphrase it. And to my response, and I understand where they're coming from, because at a certain point, especially if you're someone who's good at retaining knowledge, or good at roguelikes and or strategy in general, there is a point where you might look at something, or you will look at something and say, you know, I know what's going to happen. There's no challenge, I guess, in getting through and just either getting bad luck or not getting the things I want and just dying. And to that I say, to me it doesn't feel that way. At least I can speak personally, because well, I lost so much reason. Where did that go? Yeah, I lost no, I mean it's because in World of Horror, I think the fact that you can play the game in you can play the game in so many ways, and I know that's not really the real argument, but stick with me here. But basically, the game has enough RNG where you can get bad RNG and still make it out alive. You have enough strats that actually can be viable, but you have to know about it, and that's where the knowledge comes in. I'm not going to make any comparisons. I hate usually making comparisons. Since we're speaking out World of Horror, I'll stick on World of Horror. And in World of Horror's defense, again, yeah, you could get katana investigation 1, but let's talk more consistent strats. Basically, knowing how to face encounters, knowing what encounters do, and kind of making the most of them. If you're someone who says, well, I always run into Burning Man or Dull Nurse, or I first Burning Man and Dull Nurse, and the rest of my run is pretty, like, okay on Harbinger, like, I never die, I have, like, a 95% win rate on Harbinger quick play or something like that, then, you know what? I can see where you're coming from, but me on the other hand, it doesn't feel that way, because again, every run is not the same. Can you memorize every event or, you know, kind of strategize your way out? Sure, but I think there's enough variety in World of Horror, even if we're speaking base game too, because that's a whole other point. My main point is that there's enough variety even with what Panstas gave us vanilla at base that I think it's enough where every run, you know, you might do the same strat, but you will die more than a few times. It's not, and again, if you're someone who has, like I say, a 95% win rate on Harbinger, then okay, I see where you're coming from. But me, on the other hand, the reason, especially if you're asking me specifically, it's because I've come up with content like this where I'm just trying to challenge myself for pretty much no reason, but for me, it's fun. I've always repeated that, and I haven't said it lately, but I'll say it again. For me, it's fun to do, so I do it. And I'm not bored of playing World of Horror, so I just keep doing it. Again, I'm doing ShiokaWaifu Wars right now, so you kind of get where I'm coming from. In fact, you wouldn't be watching this video if you didn't like it. But again, for me, there's still different flavors and different ways for me to play. Do I always gravitate towards chainsaw more at this point? Sure, but I have to also run here because I'm gonna die unless there's a way to desperation. I think so, right? But yeah, so again, and it's like here, I personally, for me, it's not really, it does still feel different because again, I also consider myself in a different category of player for the worse because my RNG is very bad. Like I consider it really bad, and I think it shows that my RNG is really bad. So I can't play the same way everyone else is. It's not like I'm fighting some boss in some, open world game where they follow a set AI. No, because there is RNG, it feels different enough for me to kind of be challenged by the different situations I can run through. There's you could fail 2 events and then get a spell in 1 event and you say you need to use a spell, or you can get Katana Investigation 3 and just do a Katana run and you're really looking at events. There's enough variety there. And I haven't talked about mods either, but that's a whole other topic. And again, I think you have to give World of Horror its credit for that. The fact that there are mods at all means that the game has a lot of potential, and you could play with mods, and you have a different experience. I think that's the salient point I'm trying to make. So, but I think that's a valid point. At the same time, while also understanding why people might look at World of Horror and say, "Oh, it's another roguelike, you roll good RNG, you get game knowledge, and you're pretty much fine." Sorry for that static, but yeah, you're pretty much fine. On the other hand, on that point, I've made my main point, but if we talk about mods, then that's a whole other mod support. I think is really not as appreciated as it should be, and I think part of it is that a lot of other games that have mod support don't really have a lot of content being put out, for better or worse. What the heck? I thought I didn't do the thing. And yeah, of course, at this point you're saying, well, Jordan, if you get bad RNG, that I don't feel good because RNG is so dumb. Or hey, Jordan, I noticed that you use the chainsaw a lot, so how can that be fun when pretty much you're gonna keep doing a challenge until you get chainsaw? And to that, I see where that comes from, but it's not gonna happen all the time. And again, I do look at consistency, and yes, I can't really defend myself if you come up with a point like, well, you said that you don't re-roll for any of your challenges, but eventually you're just gonna get painting and just go for chainsaw or something like that. And I don't really. At this moment, thinking off the top of my head, the point is made there, but again, anything can happen. And again, you could counter-argue that, well, if you were just better, if you stopped making mistakes, Jordan, you would come out with a higher win rate. You'd win a lot more of your Harbinger runs or Harbinger challenges, things of that nature. So, to that, and again, but it's still fun for me. If you don't find it fun, listen. All right, if you are asking that and you didn't know about the months of World of War content I made, then I don't know what else I can say, because that's what I do. That's how I have fun. The whole reason why I started doing things like this on this channel is because that's what I literally did my whole life. Like, my whole life, I'm usually trying to look for different ways to do things. And that's fun for me. And I could go into specifics and whatnot, but literally, I'm just doing me in this. We're on timeline A, right? Yeah, timeline A. So it is what it is. I like trying to innovate on things that are already in game. I'm not gonna say every game, but I can take a lot of games and just do the same thing I did with World of Horror here, where I just come up with things I can do and they're fun for me. Might be boring to a lot of people, and I don't deny that. A lot of people can look at this and just say, well, you're just trying to milk content or do things of that nature. But I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I find it fun, and so I do it. Is it fun for? Might it not be fun for even just a majority of people who just look at it and say, well, if he just did this, he would be you would be doing a lot better. Or if you stop making mistakes, you would be bored because you would win every run, and you'd figure out that, your strats don't really change as much. But, I mean, again, World of Horror, I think, gets a pass on it because it doesn't sprinkle too much RNG. Regardless of my own personal RNG in this game, but oh my goodness, am I gonna? Do I just want to risk this? No, let's just throw the wooden bat. But it's not like RNG is the main factor. You still need to know what to do in encounters. It does help to know what events you're going to run into, so on and so forth. If you don't know completely, just take a look at anyone who played this game and didn't know what they were doing, and just come back to it. Especially if you're a player who's done a lot of Harbinger runs and you come out really well playing Harbinger, then you can kind of see where that knowledge is needed. And again, you could I like counter argument. I like playing devil's advocate in my own mind, but it makes sense because it could be what someone says where, well, just getting game knowledge, that's boring. And at that point, I mean, isn't that true for a lot of other games? But I mean, depends on the genre. For roguelikes, I can see why that might, game knowledge, relying on at least okay or not terrible RNG might be a thing. Am I gonna die here? Well, let's find out. Oh, I just took that damage to the face. But yeah, as opposed to, say, shooters or fighting games or even multiplayer strategy RTSs, things of that sort. But those are different things, again, which is why I hate making comparisons, because you start making comparison and it doesn't transfer at all. So, and that doesn't help my argument if you're the kind who's really, adamant on saying, well, World of Horror doesn't have as much innovation. But again, I've only talked about the game at vanilla, but at the same time, people can just, shove mod support aside and say, well, other games also you can play with mods, and it's just, at that point we're moving in circles. So, but I don't think enough credits gets given to World of Horror for its mod support. Panstaz didn't need to add in mod support, but it's there, it's here. It's not perfect right now, but the potential is there. You can't not see the potential. We have custom mysteries, we have custom characters, we have custom events, and that alone means you can make a different experience. You can make a more, you can change the balance of the game by adding in events, or you playing with characters that not only you make but other people make. So there's also a kind of social and interactive experience with other players in that regard. So, I mean, if we were to say what side I'm on, I'm still defending World of Horror, but again, I also see why other people might be bored with World of Horror, or not see, or not find value in, you just do the same thing every run and you either win, live, or die. And I mean, if anyone else wants to chime in at this point, say so in the comment section below. And again, I usually like thinking these out, and you've heard me play devil's advocate. Oh my goodness, I moved the screen on my own screen, which it resets back, but that kind of disoriented me for a bit. But it is what it is. I've said all I could say during this run, and we're 65 Doom. All right, I guess I'm just going to brute force. But yeah, I mean, if anyone else has an opinion, feel free to say so. But if you're of the sort to say, well, I do this all the time, World of Horror is getting boring for me. I mean, you know what? I don't know what else I could say. We're at Toxics on here, and I could just brute force this. So I've said about, if I talk about it again in the future, I'll talk about it again in the future, but I think I've said most of the points that I could talk about. There might be other things, and like I said, if other people chime in, or if I take a look at the community, I'm sure someone has said something on both sides. There are more than one person's, oh my goodness, my words, on both sides of the argument, where they hate World of Horror because, you're just trying to do a certain strat, or the experience is not different enough. But on the other side, there are people who are like, no, you can play different ways, and then you fire back. All that stuff. Again, if you want to make a comment, feel free to do so. I'll either reply or I'll look at it. It gives me some thoughts. Otherwise, if you want to support me, support me. If you want to, this is 1 point for Aiko. Forgive me, Aiko fans, but that's it for now, Jared and MML. I'll be back.